Hello, my friends. It's Andy over at the Andy Falco Show, coming to you live from California. It's 6:46. Sorry, I'm about 60 seconds late. Hey, I'm going to beg for your forgiveness. I have a feeling I'm going to have a tough time getting through the show, and I'm just letting you know ahead of time. I did not go live yesterday because of something I was watching live that I'm going to share with you to make my point. About, the title is that Chaz Chop is a preview of what the United States would look like if Biden were elected president. And I'm gonna make my point using a video that completely devastated me yesterday, and it's starting to now. And I'm not even playing the video. I'm just thinking about what it is we're gonna watch. So I'm going to do my best to get through it. And I'm not really quite sure when I'm going to be able to play it, but I'm going to do my very, very best. But as you're watching, I would really appreciate comments for you to say hi, where you're watching from, who you are, if you like what I'm talking about, if you hate what I'm talking about, if you dispute anything I'm talking about, if whatever. I enjoy the comments and need the comments. It is the way that I'm going to spread the word about this show that people seem to be sharing and liking and that kind of stuff. And and the comments will actually help me also guide the future of the show as to what direction I plan on going, because it'll be the feedback that allows me to do that. Now, it isn't going to be like this forever. I am praying and I'm hoping that we'll go back to an America that is way better than what we're seeing right now. It is still America. I know it deep down inside that the heart of America still beats. It is just a little weak. It's a little sick right now. And it just needs, it has COVID-19 apparently. And it doesn't need a respirator yet, but there is some stuff going on that is not well. It's got some stuff going on. All right. So we're going to get through this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think the Chaz Chop experiment was a preview of what would happen if Biden became president, and I will get through it. I'm first going to talk about a couple of my sponsors really quick here, and I just want to make sure and get through those because, again, it's important so that we can move forward and do more stuff with this show. And I would appreciate it if you visit the websites and on occasion maybe buy something. That would be very helpful to the existence of the show. First, we're going to talk about today's happycoffee.com. Go there for some great coffee. It not only is a coffee, but it also has other ingredients that helps with dopamine and other such things going on with your body that creates happiness and feeling good and that kind of stuff. And I had a couple cups today, just so you know, to maintain that happiness. I did have a great show earlier with Dr. Jessica Bourdain on my other show, which was fantastic. She is a great, great lady. So if you want to go to either one of the pages you're watching this on, and scroll down and you will find that interview. It's a great, great interview about wellness, and some of the things that she had to say are just amazing. But you can also go to today'shappycoffee.com and check out some of the ingredients and the coffee that I have to offer there. And then we have today's CBD, which is the CBD product that I've been promoting now for the last couple of years. It's fantastic. Liposome technology. It is made by one of the top 50 healthcare companies in the world. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take some just to get through this show. I think I just need a little bit to help me get through this thing. And I'm anticipating what I'm going to be showing you to, again, only to prove my point. And then today's Vaseo.com, which is all the other wellness products that you find at Vaseo. So please visit the websites and check out the wellness products that are on that site. All right. So over the last couple of months, we have been watching this experiment in Washington, the state of Washington. And again, make sure and comment as you're going. I've seen the numbers that are changing as I'm going live here. Please, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or Facebook, please comment. Just say something, say hi, tell me where you're watching from, and any kind of support. Or if you disagree with me, make sure and put that in there too. We get lots of those, and I really enjoy getting the comments that are negative. They're actually my favorite, but I prefer the happy ones too. Let's see who's watching already. Hey, Nicole, nice to see you. All right, so we have again, we have Chaz Chop, whatever, and it's ceasing to exist as far as I know. I think they're really making headway and taking that down. And the reason I think that this is that country that they try to create, this zone, is a preview, is because it gave you kind of an insight as to what the Democrats are all about. And lawlessness, obviously, is one of those things. In the subtitle I put, and lawlessness is not the only thing. But it is a big thing when we're looking at what they're trying to do to law enforcement. And I know you will hear Democrats on occasion say, well, we really don't want to demolish, or not demolish. They may want to demolish. We don't want to dismantle. We don't want to defund. And yet we have cities that are defunding, right? We have New York right now that already said they're going to reduce the budget. And I know it's talking about moving finances from here to here, all this other kind of shenanigans. Either way, if you're getting rid of $1 billion somehow to a law enforcement like New York, it's going to impact people and it's going to cost lives, which the Democrats don't care. This is my point with Chaz and Chaz Chopistan. And then you have Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? We have the entire city council, all other than the mayor, have voted to dismantle that law enforcement office. We have Oakland, the city of Oakland, completely dismantled the school police for that city, which is a 1 on the crime list for crime, right? A 1 being the lowest you can possibly get, 100 being the best. So you have a city with the highest crime rating you can possibly get in a 1. I know that sounds strange, but it's the other way around. It's 1 being the worst, has completely dismantled one of their police departments, one of the law enforcement agencies in that city. And it's for the children, right? And so as we now go back to focus on Chaz and Chop, this was a complete disregard by the mayor and the governor of Washington for the health and safety of their citizens. And again, this is really what the Democrat Party is all about. They don't care about the citizens. They never have. And we'll go through it again. And I've talked about this for the last several weeks. And that is that you look at Chicago, Baltimore, and New York, and Minneapolis, and Detroit, and San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And you look at those cities that are Democrat run, and they are the worst cities in regard to crime, welfare, education of any of the cities in the United States of America. And all they do is talk. All they talk about is raising taxes so that they can put in these programs that they never put through, that never do anything. De Blasio and his wife are famous now for getting millions and millions of dollars for a program for social work, and they cannot find what happened with that money whatsoever, other than 50 women who had postpartum depression that they got to see some type of counselor. For millions of dollars, this 50 women got to see a counselor. And it's just, they tried to do something to show that they were doing something. But again, the math is not right? I mean, you'd be stupid. You'd be a moron. Apparently, the Democrat organization has a large number of morons in it, or else this wouldn't continue for decade and decades. All right. And so you have everything is Trump's fault. Right. And I'm going to have to visit that every so often, because this really nothing about Chaz and Chop in regard to the success or failure has to do with the president of the United States. But they will blame and give a reason why they're doing this, and they will blame Donald Trump for what it is they're doing, which has nothing truly to do with them, other than they are shocked that he won, and they are shocked that he's going to win again, or they're fighting so he doesn't win again, because they've realized with somebody in there that's not a politician, they're losing power and they're being exposed for the weaknesses. The main weakness of the Democrat politicians that are in existence is their lack of intelligence and lack of caring for their citizens that they claim that they care about. There's the Black Lives Matter movement is no different than the Democratic Party, as we know that it's an arm of the Democratic Party, is that they don't care about black lives. To them, Black lives do not matter, even though Black Lives Matter is in their name. Because why? Because none of what they're doing is bringing attention or putting forth any policies or programs that help with the real problem, and that is black on black crime. They're doing nothing towards that, right? And so you can see that this organization, who claims to have a saying or a motto of Black Lives Matter, don't really care about Black lives, right? You have one man who was murdered by a horrible cop. Right? One man. And our country is on fire. Statues are being burned down, looting, rioting, Molotov cocktails, burning police cars, defunding law enforcement, all because of one guy. But they're completely ignoring hundreds of other people that are being shot on a daily basis in places like New York and Chicago that are all Black. Right? There may be a couple occasional white in there, but they don't care about the whites. Remember, they only care about Black lives. But they're not, and could care less, they're not talking about, and they can care less about any of those black lives that are being killed. That's how you know it's a fraud. And they're getting millions of dollars, but yet nothing is being done, right? They're just go, well, we're going to pull down another statue. And it's mostly white kids pulling down statues, right? And let's go get some more paint. We got millions of dollars. Let's go get some more paint and we'll write Black Lives Matter on the street. That'll change everything. Pulling down a Confederate statue, that'll change everything. Getting rid of George Washington, wrapping his head in an American flag and catching it on fire, that will change everything. You've done nothing. You've done nothing. And so then we go back to Chaz and we go to CHOP, and you have this zone that we joke around and call it this other country, but it essentially is microcosm the right way of describing this? It may be. I'm not sure. I could be using the word incorrectly, but you've taken this small patch, right? And you could really look at that as the United States post-2020 election in November with Biden being president, because it was run essentially by Democrats with the support of Democrats. And you had the mayor, who was essentially the leader, even though she claimed to be the leader of Seattle. She was also the leader of CHOP Chazistan, and allowed them to get away with everything and saying that it was just going to be a happy place. And look at what happens when we just put people together that just love one another. Look what happens. It's going to be fantastic. Well, first of all, we have to put up barriers. First of all, we have to dismantle. We have no law enforcement, right? We don't want any law enforcement messing up our brand new country that's going to have a summer of love that's kind of like a street fair, and we're going to plant plants. It's going to be fantastic. So we don't want law enforcement ruin anything. And we said, and I said, and a number of other people said, oh, this is not going to end well. People are going to die. People are going to get hurt. And as a matter of fact, it was much worse than that, right? We had a number of people get killed. We had rapes. We had molestations. We had robberies. We had assault and batteries. We had aggravated assaults. You had everything happening in there, and they wouldn't let the law enforcement in. And you look at what the Democrats are proposing, right? They're proposing dismantling law enforcement. I know they say that they're not, but you know that they are. You got AOC, who is a representative or an advisor to Joe Biden, who is brainless and brain dead. They're just going to kind of push him through, to get him voted, and then everybody else takes over. He's just a figurehead, so to speak. That really does match, right? He's a figurehead. We all know that. They know that. Everybody on the planet knows it. There's nobody that doesn't know that Joe Biden is simply a figurehead to get somebody into the office so they can control. They obviously don't want somebody that can think, because there are hundreds of thousands of Democrats that they could have put in that position of a nominee that had a brain. But the problem with somebody with a brain is that they could not manipulate him, his votes, and his decision making. Only Joe Biden, who's nearly brain dead, can they manipulate. And people like AOC and Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, who I don't really even think they all like each other, but they all have a little plan, right? One has an arm. It's like a puppet, right? One of them Nancy has one of his arms. Adam Schiff has a leg. You got AOC has probably his head, right? And she's like, oh, he's going to say these things, right? And they're going to begin to mold. And so you can't say, Democrats, you can't say that you're not for defunding law enforcement. You can't say you're not for dismantling, because all of them are. And they are all in control of Joe Biden if he were to get elected. So again, we have to go back to Chazistan, right? We got to go back to Chazistan and we look at what happened. You have people killed. You have people that are being raped, and you have people that are being assaulted, and you have walls, and you have these. They're trying to plant plants, but they're so stupid they don't know how to raise plants and food through their little farm that they created. Anytime they only took video of it one time, right? You only saw videos and pictures, and you go, oh, what did they do? They threw a bunch of dirt like on top of the grass and threw some seeds on there and tried to call that a farm. None of that was going to work because they have no intelligence to do that. If it wasn't for Republicans and business owners and people that create stuff, right? People that actually have brains, Democrats wouldn't know what to do, obviously, because they don't want to work. They want to get stuff for free. And so you have that mentality in this little zone, 6 blocks, right? And they completely imploded. And now they've turned on each other. Now, the only reason it got dismantled in the last couple of days is because the people turned on their leader, the mayor of Seattle, right? They went to her house, and now she's going, wait a minute, I'm the leader. What are you doing at my house? And she now felt threatened. And she suddenly gets threatened and goes, all right, that's it, enough. Right. And said, we're gonna go in there. And we're going to take it away. We're going to send in the troops and we're going to take it away. And it was a brief preview of what it would look like if you put Democrats in the way that they are thinking right now. Now, in the past, we've had some pretty decent Democrats, right? In the past, they didn't destroy the world. But I don't know what is going on. But we right now have a group of liberal Democrats that are just have completely lost their mind. And again, Chaz and Chop is a preview of what would happen if Joe Biden is elected, because the same people that were in charge of Chazistan are going to be the people that are running the country. Let me say that again one more time. The same people that were running Chazistan, Chop Chazistan, are going to be the same people that are going to be running our country if Joe Biden were to be elected. And there's no doubt in my mind, because they are as crazy as the mayor and the governor of Seattle and the governor of Washington are. We've seen it in Lightfoot in Chicago. She's a nut. We've seen the moron in Minneapolis, who has the weird, a little bit of intelligence that he goes, wait a minute, I don't think we should dismantle the law enforcement, right? I don't know where that came from. Somebody must have shook him and said, hey, dude, you gotta get some control. You can't let them get rid of the law enforcement. We are ranked number 3 on the crime statistics, right? They're number 3. Oakland being 1, and Minneapolis being the 3. We can, and somebody said, listen, dude, you can't get rid of law enforcement. The people in the government that have voted for it to be dismantled, I have lost their mind and gone nuts, right? So you got a little bit of brain gray matter with the mayor, and again, not quite sure. As a matter of fact, he stood up, and I got to give him a little bit of credit that during one of the Black Lives Matter riots, peaceful protest, he actually said, no, we're not getting rid of the police department, and he said it in front of them, which they almost lynched him, right? They almost hung him on in a tree before he was able to escape with his life. Somewhere he has a little bit of gray matter that won't do it. I am totally full of shit. Yes, that is my favorite. Thank you. But it is the complete truth, right? We can see it before us. You can see Chicago has the highest crime rate, right? It is not, that is not bullshit. It is the truth. You got Oakland, who has a 1 rating on the crime statistics, right? That is the complete truth. Minneapolis is a 3. Complete truth. All run by Democrats. Right? We can continue to do this. De Blasio, one of the worst mayors on the planet next to Gavin Newsom, one of the horrible, most miserable mayors. Newsom is a governor, but mayor, just a leader, a governmental leader, is a horrible, miserable, nasty, stupid, beyond belief, idiot, moron. Defunding the New York Police Department, taking it from where they had finally got a handle on some crime, and law enforcement is being defunded. They're taking all the 600 undercover officers that were being very effective in reducing the gun violence in New York, completely dismantled them. And now what do you have? A shooting every hour. That is all fact. That is not bullshit. Whatever your name is, David. That is fact. All facts. You cannot dispute that. Chazistan is run by a Democratic mayor who they eventually turned on. The governor completely ignored what was happening in Seattle and refused to do anything. And it wasn't until law enforcement came in and was allowed to, and the chief, you know what? I wish you would have had a little bit more backbone and would have when it first arrested the mayor and then came in and just cleaned it up in spite of her. That she could have done something like that. I know it would have been difficult and probably a lot of ramifications for that. But when you're right, you're right. Should have arrested the mayor, arrested her, and some of the city council, and cleared out the streets. But no, 2 people had to die first, and then even that didn't stop the mayor. Right? The fact that 2 people were killed in Chapistan did not tell the mayor, okay, we're going to close this thing down. No, the only time that she made the decision to close down was after they went to her home and threatened her. Then she had enough. Her life is more important, and this is where we're getting to my point here, is that her life, to her, is more important than Black lives. Black lives matter only when her life was in danger. That is the only time that Black lives matter. It didn't matter that a black man was killed, a 19-year-old boy who had special needs was shot and killed. It didn't matter when he got shot and killed several weeks ago. It didn't matter. And I'm going to show you proof right now. And I'm going to have a little bit of difficulty getting through this. It's going to take me. It's going to be tough. All you are is a Republican stooge. Don't listen to this asshole. Yes. Do not listen to me. Do not listen to facts. And I wish I had my graphic, because I had a graphic that said, watch what happens when you give facts to people. Never does David have anything that would show that I'm wrong, right? He would never be able to come out and say, no, people are not dying in Chicago. Here's the article. It is a utopia in Chicago. Everybody lives free and has no problem with shots being fired and bullets going through the back of a car and killing a 4-year-old. Right? That is false, according to David. A shooting every hour in New York is false, according to David, even though it's happening. Chazistan, 2 young men being killed, a 14-year-old who's probably going to die. He's on life support right now, will also die. That also is bullshit, according to David. And I'm an asshole because I bring it up, right? So you can't, you bring facts to the table, and the only thing Democrats and people like David can say is, you're an asshole. You're an asshole for bringing facts into this. We want to believe in the lies that we're being told by our people. And all Republicans are perfect, right? Whoever said we are Christians, many of us believe in God, and we know based on our teachings and our religion that we are definitely not perfect. That is the reason why we need God. We are the biggest sinners like you on the planet, and we need to be saved by Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ gave his life to save us because, David, we are not perfect. You're not like in the Democratic run cities. I love that you keep on talking. No, that's not what I said. It is what you said. Wait, let me see. And all Republicans are perfect, right? I just said we're sinners. What did I miss? Debbie, help me understand. What did I miss? He said I'm an asshole. He said I'm full of bullshit. And he asked me if we were perfect. And no, it doesn't make any difference what religion. I never said it did. Nothing in any of his statements. And again, this always happens on social media, right? You bring facts to a discussion, and I love having discussions. You bring a fact to a discussion, and there's never, ever a return of, well, no. There's not a shooting every hour in New York since they pulled down the 600 undercover police officers who are keeping a handle on it. No, that is true. Ever since they dissolved the undercover unit in New York, there's been a shooting every hour in the evening, mostly on the weekends, and people have been shot and people are dying because of that. That is a fact. Minneapolis, people are being shot and dying. That is a fact. In Chicago, one of the worst run cities on the planet by a Democrat, is people are dying. The 20 worst cities in regard to crime are all Democratic run cities, other than one city in Florida, which has a very small crime factor. But keep on going. I'm so happy that you made my day, because it just makes my point. This is the only thing that they have to say. All right, and I know I never said I was perfect. I'm way far from perfect, but I'm right. That's all I can tell you. All right, so now I'm going to get to you. Now, the reason I know, and I'm going to have more proof, and David may not stick around for this, because sometimes they get bombarded with facts and truth, and they cry and they go away. I'm going to cry because of the video, but I'm not crying because I'm wrong. Is because you have an opportunity as a Democrat in Chastapistan, right? You have the BLM leader could have done something. The mayor could have done something. The governor could have done something. Somebody with the city council could have done something. Even the chief of police could have done something. Even one of the police officers, the detectives in this Democratic run or city and state could have done something that would have been powerful to at least one person in the mix over there at Chaz. And that is the father of the 19-year-old victim. And I'm going to bring up his name. The victim's name is Horace. Or where'd I put it? Horace Anderson, 19 years old. Special needs. This is not gonna go well, because I'm not even playing the video. You got Horace Anderson shot in Chaz. a few weeks ago, and a victim, right? And they wouldn't let the people within this zone, right? This zone would not let law enforcement and the fire department to come in to care for this young man who had been shot, and he died. There's tape with the police begging to be allowed to go and take care. Now, again, that also bothered me. Why are the police begging for anything? Go in, get in there, take people to jail, arrest people that are going to block your passage to take care of somebody that's been shot. Don't beg. I don't understand the begging in law enforcement. Again, 21 years of law enforcement. I've never begged to go in anywhere. We went in when we were needed, and it was an emergency. We entered. We booted the door, kicked the door, shot the hinges off with a shotgun that had a special round that would allow you to shoot the hinges off a door. Whatever it took to get into some place where we needed to help somebody, we did it. We didn't ask for permission. But if we knew somebody was in there that was shot and bleeding and dying, we went in. To listen to law enforcement begging to go in to take care of somebody is the first sin of these people that claim that they care and are writing because they care about people. None of this has to do with caring about anybody. That they would block the entrance of law enforcement and the fire detail to get in there to take care of somebody was the first sign that this is what you can expect if Democrats take control, is that they don't care about you. They only care about power. They do not care about you. And so that's the first sign. The second sign is that after Horace was shot, Anderson, a 19-year-old special needs child, 19 is his age, but his brain was not that of an adult based on what his father said, was there dying and not taken care of. He ended up dying. And I want you to listen to this video, and it's going to be rough for me. And I don't know why it does, but it kicks my butt. I have kids, and wow, this is not going to be good. I may sign off after the video. So let me just do this. Let me just in case. I want you to listen to, and I'm going to, you know what? I think I'm just going to play. I may play the whole video. I may cut it off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but this is it. This is the sign that they could care less. Nobody in Seattle, Washington, Seattle, the city, Washington, the state, law enforcement, no one, absolutely no one cared about Horace Anderson, 19 years old, special needs kid. No one cared about his father. No one cared about his family. No one in Chaz, no one in CHOP, no one in Seattle, no one in Washington that should have cared about what was going on. This is the problem. You vote Democrat, you look at this, you need to change your mind. I don't care if you are, what is the guy's name again? David? Yeah, David. You can call me an asshole all you want. You can say whatever. I don't care. I know that I'm right. And I've been right from the beginning of all this stuff starting. And many things, not just this. Facts matter, and statistics matter when they are correct and true and used in a way that benefit us, not destroy us. And so I'm going to play this video. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to come back. I'm going to try. All right, let's give this a shot. Here we go.
That was Saturday. It took all the way till Thursday. I just seen him just last week, just Thursday, and they had to whatever they did to him and make him so they presentable, whatever it was. But I needed, I got to finally see him, and then my, in my heart, I knew it was my son now. This is my son because, I wouldn't want nobody else's son. And this is incredible. These kids and the kids that passed, what happened the other day, all this on this child. Man, this is incredible. These are kids, man. I'm 50 years old. Man, these are kids, man. They should have been stopped this a long time ago. It's starting to get, excuse me, but it's getting to a point, where, it's getting. Gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
Just really.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Anderson. I can only say this as a dad. You want to break Sean Hannity? I'm a pretty tough guy. That will break me. What you've been
Somebody
through.
that asked for this, and they need to come talk to me, and somebody need to come tell me something, because I still don't know nothing. And somebody need to come to my house and knock on my door and tell me something. That, I don't know nothing. All I know is my son he got killed up there, and he's just a 19-year-old. No, that's Horace Lorenzo Anderson. That's my son, and I loved him, and that was my son.
Got your family. Don't worry about
Everybody, I could tell you, sir, and Andre, I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but on this show, we've done something. We have every weekend hundreds of kids shot, people shot in Chicago, killed every weekend. We get a death toll. Nobody knows their names. These are American kids, grandmothers, grandfathers, moms, and dads. We're the United States of America. We can fix this. We don't fix this. And you do it by right policing, training police, non-lethal weapons. You do it with a police presence, not demonizing. Everyone agreed what happened to George Floyd can't ever happen again. It was not a political issue.
Right.
How do we
Right.
function as a society if we don't protect our children?
And I feel for his family too. No disrespect.
Of course
But
you do.
when it comes to my son, I feel like
It's personal.
just like you saying that, somebody should have helped my son. He needed help. He needed paramedics. He needed the police to come in. Somebody was supposed to go in there and help my son.
Can I play you something, sir?
Just anybody helping him. They should have came in there and helped my son. And even after that, still, I need to, let me know. I should know from some little kids. I should have somebody. I'm 50 years old. Somebody should have knocked on my door and said, "Man, we need to sit down and talk to you and let you know what's going on." Because I still don't know what's going on. I'm hearing from YouTube and I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. All I know is my son's dead, and I don't know nothing. And I'm still trying to figure out answers so I can sleep. I don't sleep. My kids don't sleep. I can't even stay at home. My kids don't even, they feel like they're unsafe at home now. So I've been buying motel rooms, and I don't have that type of money for this. I'm not, I wasn't prepared for this. You know what I'm saying? So I just, I'm blessed that my son, he's my auntie, she blessed me, and his mom, we all came together and we got, to bury him. But other than that, I don't have answers. You know what I'm saying? This is my son. Somebody need to come talk to me, man. They're not talking to me, man. And I understand that Black Lives Matter, but that's not what was going on here. I didn't see that. That ain't what I see.
Life matter?
Yeah. He's somebody. Yeah, he's somebody, and I'm his dad, and I need answers, and I demand it. I refuse not to, man. I will not lay down. I'm hurt, but I'm trying. I'm just trying. Whatever. I'm trying to pull myself together, and I apologize for crying. Because I just I don't know how to. I'm trying to pull myself together. I'm not.
Okay. Nobody's contacted him. Why? I have five kids, and my son is with a friend at the beach, having a good time. I call him every day. His son was killed, and nobody. Where's the humanity in? He doesn't say it in this clip, but the detectives haven't called him. Well, it's not the world we're supposed to be living in right now. So there's my spiel, and I know that there's people that I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care, but this is an obvious flaw in that political party, and it keeps showing itself. And until you wake up, those of you that argue with me and call me an asshole, and I can enjoy it from time to time, and I do like it because the fact is I know that I'm right. But the fact is that you're enabling it. You're enabling the murders of hundreds of Black children in all of these cities that the Democrats for decades, not for days, not for weeks, not for the 3 years that Donald Trump has been president, but for decades have not helped, only made things worse with all the horrible programs that they've continued to put in place. The only thing that's going to make it worse is if Joe Biden gets in power and now they raise taxes. You think that they're going to raise taxes on the rich. That is not who they're raising taxes on. That money that you think that they're going to get to help these areas is not going to help the areas that you think it's going to help, because it never has. Millions of dollars. I've told you this before, that California, in the school system, more money goes to the underprivileged and underserved areas of our state than goes to cities where I live. Fortunately, I happen to be able to live in a fairly nice area, and we don't get the money that the underserved communities get. And yet our children graduate higher and do better in school. The literacy is much higher. You don't have the failure rate. You have a higher graduation rate, yet we don't get the money. What is going wrong? It is not. You understand that this is a problem that you Democrats have been in charge, that they have been in charge with for decades. So this purpose for this show is to say, look at what happened in Chaz, Chapistan. Look what happened with the murders and the aggravated assaults and the rapes. And I don't know how I'm wrong. I've been told that I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what happened. There's no wrong. And it has nothing to do with who's in the White House now. It never has. The fact is that these liberal policies have never worked. It has only allowed people to stay in power for long periods of time. People have been in power in the Democratic Party in these areas for God knows for what reason, for decades. And that is the problem. Things need to change. And it's not going to be better. It's only going to be worse because now they are upset that they don't have power, and they have gone crazy. They have lost their minds. Literally have lost their minds. When you're dismantling law enforcement, when you are defunding law enforcement, you've lost your mind. You are crazy. Gun sales are through the roof. You can't go to the gun store here in California and find a gun. They're all sold out. Thousands of guns are being registered a day. Thousands of guns are being registered a day. So I don't know who you think that you are fooling, but you're not fooling a very large population of the country, because it's not just California that's having that results. I'm glad I made it towards the end. I just want to have those last couple words. I appreciate it. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it very much for that. It is not going to be pretty, and still don't know what's going to happen. But I can tell you the way that these cities are going, it is only going to get worse. It is not going to get better, especially when you're dismantling law enforcement in places where crime is as bad as it can possibly be. It can't get lower than a 1 in Oakland. And yet you just completely dismantled a police department in Oakland. Completely dismantled it. And Democrat, well, we're not going to, you just did. We're not going to defund. You just did in New York. All the people that are in the park it's okay that they're there, during COVID-19. Nothing worry about there. You've not done anything to clear them out, but you can't go to church. Right? None of these decisions make any sense. I could get on the whole COVID-19, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to end it on this, that nothing is going to change in these Democratic communities, because it's not about caring about the people that live in the Democratic communities. It is not about the people. It is not about the poor. It is not about the Black Lives Matter. They don't care about Black lives. They never have cared about Black lives. Law enforcement is not systemically racist. It hasn't lately. It was maybe back in the 60s, in the 50s. In the last 20 to 30 years, law enforcement has been amazing. They've been trained so well. There are so many tools that we have now that save lives. And the decisions that are being made about law enforcement are only going to destroy lives. And again, I'm going to be right. I was in law enforcement 21 years. I just spoke on 3 different cases today in regard to law enforcement. Today, I evaluated the use of force on 3 cases today. I know what I'm talking about. The things that they're talking about have nothing to do with improving the life of our communities based on law enforcement. It is only going to make things worse. It is not being made to improve. You have to change what's happening in these communities, not defunding, dismantling law enforcement. That is going to make things worse in these communities. Bottom line, I don't care how much money that you can take away from New York. You can take $2 billion from their budget. It is not going to change what's happening in the community. It's only going to worsen the ability for law enforcement to take care of and to respond to calls in that community. But you're not going to see any improvement in the crime in those communities because so far they've been given millions of dollars over decades and years and nothing has changed. Giving them $2 more billion is going to do nothing. And I'll end with that. Chaz and Chop is an example. You just need to look at that as an example of what our country will look like if Joe Biden becomes president. Thanks for watching. Share, like, subscribe, comment if you're watching the replay. Thanks. Bye.